Women in Nepal. Nepal is a country located in South Asia which borders China and India. Its population currently stands at 28.98 million. Of those 28.98 million, 51.48% is composed of females. 77.5% of women above the age of 15 are employed, compared to 83.7% of men above the age of 15. Nepal is a multi-party federal republic where the president acts as the head of the state and the prime minister is head of executive body of government. Nepal has had a strong patriarchal influence over women. Nepali women were meant to satisfy their husbands' needs and reproduce. They were looked at as less than and didn't really have as much of a right as men to voice their opinions. A woman's life in this country was meant to revolve around her husband's. She is not her own person. Now, women are still being treated as second-class citizens, and their primary duty is looking after the family. Women have a weaker position in society, and this is mostly due to lack of education. Urban and developed areas now are working towards the equality and empowerment of women. Women in Nepal have a long history of abuse, which is oftentimes excused or even dignified by cultural and societal norms. Sati Pratha is one of such practices where women were forced to burn themselves alive on the pyre of their dead husbands. If a man died leaving his wife as a widow, the woman was supposed to sit along with the dead body of her husband and get herself burnt to death. However, a man was free to get married again even if his wife was dead or alive. Luckily, this practice was made illegal in 1920. Trafficking of Nepalese women has also become more common. Another issue faced by women in Nepal is domestic and sexual violence within their home and even outside of it. Since women were solely seen as servers to their husbands, education for women was looked down upon. These societal views and norms have slowly disappeared with time and development, but in some parts of the country, illiteracy among women is still prevalent. There is also the issue of poverty, which prevents women from attending school or completing their education fully. Since marriage is still seen as a woman's main priority, a lot of women do not get or complete their education. This is especially true in rural areas. Women with disabilities in Nepal struggle to have access to health services, especially when it comes to maternal circumstances. Women with disabilities are not as sexually active and are not as likely to be married. From the article I found, one of the studies shows that 2% of the country has some sort of disability. Another study that I found from the Washington Group on Disability Statistics found that 29% of women that had children, their child had a severe, moderate, or mild impairment. Women with disabilities in Nepal are looked down upon more than men because of their gender and disabilities. The reading I picked was about online media culture in Nepal. One of the studies stated that women are not recognized by the media. In another study, 80% of men readings were written and published, but only 20% of women's readings were published and recognized. The reading also talked about that more needs to be done about gender roles of women in the media. The reading talked about women who may have a girl baby are looked down upon rather than women who have boy babies. They are looked down upon because boys are supposed to be the leaders and girls have more responsibilities, and their healthcare is more expensive than men because women have more needs. The 21st century is changing for women in their healthcare, but it is still a work in progress. Nepal should make an act for women to make healthcare more affordable and easier to attain. The article I chose, called Women in Nepal Army, Challenges and Opportunities, starts off with a story about how on a bus there were specific seats for women. A person yelled at someone saying that the seats were strictly for women. As it turns out, the person sitting in the woman's seat was a woman herself, and she was upset about having assigned seats for specific genders on the bus. Nepal plans to have at least 9% of women in the army at all times. Currently, 4,094 women are in the army. Major Buddha served in the army for the past 13 years, and she said her gender has never been a problem. Gender didn't stop her from doing what she wanted to do in the military. Women can do men's job as long as they believe in themselves. The Nepal Army started recognizing women in the army in 1961. 972 women have been keeping peace since then. Typically, women have not had too many opportunities to engage in political roles but have pushed their way through and have been achieving the political changes necessary in Nepal. During the 1900s People's Movement, many women from different religions succeeded in abolishing the one-party system Nepal had. This helped to then create the multi-party democratic system currently in place. During 2006, hundreds of thousands of women engaged in the Second People's Movement, allowing for the monarchy to fall and declared Nepal as a federal democratic republic. The demand for women's voices in parliament was always building up, but was not completely satisfied until after the Second Women's Movement reinstated members of the already existing parliament. It wasn't until May of 2006 that it was declared that all forms of discrimination would be put to an end. On November 21st, 2006, a peace agreement was signed between Nepal and the Maoists, leading to an increase in the amount of women involved with Nepal's national politics. Throughout this progress in politics, 197 women are now involved in Nepal's constitution-making process, along with being members of the legislative parliament. Although Nepal has made large progress in establishing gender equality, allowing for large amounts of women to engage in the workforce, they continue to face numerous amounts of economic issues. According to an Interactionist Eldest article called Women's Economic Empowerment in Nepal, Nepal has been categorized by the World Bank as one of the poorest countries in the world. Nepal's economic status provides limited access to any educational, economical, and political resources for women. As shown throughout history, various factors come into effect when dealing with the issues that Nepalese women face. Despite the amount of women who are involved with Nepal's economy, they do not have access to any of Nepal's economic resources, along with 75% of the workforce consisting of unpaid mothers and wives. Along with many other cultures, Nepal is a patriarchal society. This neglects women the choice in productive resources, like land, forest, credit, technology, and other enterprises. This patriarchy denies women the right to property. She is only entitled any type of property if it is owned by her husband. Nepal tries to make this issue of property seem valid by stating that a woman has property if her husband has it, but she does not own it. This issue among women and property in Nepal displays a double standard as it does not contribute to the success Nepalese women have encountered. Although there is a double standard, there has been tremendous efforts to reduce the gender inequality and to help provide programs such as the Ministry of Women, Children, and Social Welfare to help women understand the issues they are facing and to provide them with assistance with issues of poverty. Currently, Nepal is experiencing a gender and sexual revolution as their old values are now shifting with the times. These traditional values toward marriage, gender, and sexuality are diminishing as modernization and economic development spread throughout Nepal. Although there has been success among women and LGBTI rights, these individuals are continuously facing discrimination among the Nepalese people. A large proportion of Nepal's population are Hindus, with a small percentage being Buddhists, Islam, Karatism, Christianity, and some others. Although Nepal is a multicultural nation, Hinduism controls the societal structure of Nepal. Although Nepal consisted of mainly Hindus and Buddhists, a new constitution was enforced in 2015 for the equal right among all religions in Nepal. Unfortunately, it is still prohibited for individuals to convert to another religion. Due to the patriarchal system that Nepal possesses, women have been deprived of the right to engage in certain aspects of life, such as sports. Engaging in sporting activities has nothing but positive benefits for women as it provides them with greater opportunities for community involvement and expanding their networks.